Bad news for the 49ers. Yetur Gross-Matos returned to practice on Thursday, aggravated the hamstring injury. So just as the 49ers defensive line was trending up, they suffer yet another blow, and I think that it might change the entire trade calculus for the 49ers. Washington Square Park in New York, we're going to be making our way around town as we give you the roster moves. The first of those moves, Yetur Gross-Matos to injured reserve. So bad news, 4 games at least for Yetur Gross-Matos, and that means the 49ers might have to be back and more aggressive on that trade market than they might have thought after acquiring Keion White, and it sure is a good thing that they got Keion White. Outside-in pass rusher, just like Yetur Gross-Matos, might actually even be his long-term replacement on this 49ers roster. We are in Central Park now, in case you didn't notice. New York City Marathon is tomorrow, so this place is bustling. They're getting some of that set up. You can see the very tall, skinny skyscrapers behind us. Allegedly, they sway in the wind, or at least one of those might sway in the wind. And you know what? I kind of believe it. That doesn't look safe. I think that, I'm a big skyscraper guy. We went to Dubai, but that building looks safe because it's got enough of a base. These ones look like pencils just sticking up into the sky. More news for the 49ers. Spencer Burford has been activated off injured reserve. No Ben Barch activated off injured reserve. So maybe Spencer Burford starts this game at left guard for Connor Colby. This is going to be fascinating because the 49ers have one big issue along the offensive line. It is not the tackle position. It is the left guard position where the rookie Connor Colby has been thrust into action during his first year without being prepared. The 49ers have even acknowledged that he hasn't been fully ready to take on this role. I mean, Aaron Banks was drafted in the second round of 2021, and they didn't plan for him to start in 2021, and he only played 6 snaps in garbage time. Colby has started 4 to 5 games now for the 49ers, and it has been an issue. So Spencer Burford has never played left guard. He has started at right guard. He was a left tackle in college. He's now technically a tackle for the 49ers. He's better at tackle, but maybe they sub him into that left guard position tomorrow against the Giants to get the boost that they need to get. Ben Barch, when he does return, is the 49ers' first stringer at that guard position, but his practice window has been opened. He's not quite ready to come back from the high ankle sprain. Maybe they are waiting for natural grass for Ben Barch as well. That's what they're waiting on for Brock Purdy to start. It's going to be Mac Jones tomorrow. I think that's what they may be waiting for when it comes to Ricky Pearsall, and I think that's what they may be waiting for when it comes to Ben Barch. The 2 practice squad elevations for the 49ers are related to that. Nick Zakelj, the guard, is up. He can also play left guard, but I don't think the 49ers want to start him there because if he gets hurt, they won't have a center. So Zakelj is up for his 3rd elevation. That's the final elevation they could use on Nick Zakelj to back up Matt Hennessy with Jake Brendel still on the shelf with his hamstring injury. If both Hennessy and Zakelj play at the same time, there's the risk that they both get hurt, and then the 49ers wouldn't have anybody to play that all-important center position. So in the case of Zakelj, you probably don't see him at left guard unless there's an emergency there, but I wouldn't be surprised that the 49ers played Spencer Burford out of position. That's how desperate they are to get some better play at left guard. And then the 2nd elevation from the practice squad is Clelin Ferrell. So yes, he is plugged into the lineup right away, just like Keion White. Keion White traded. We're on the Eastern time zone now, right? Keion White probably still on Eastern time, even though he had a cup of coffee in San Francisco this week. So maybe that's the 49ers' way of getting past this early body clock start. They're going to be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. I think in my video earlier, when I was walking through West Village, I said it was a 4 p.m. Eastern start. That was a misspeak on my part. I'm all time zone, jet lag, discombobulated. It's 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific. Keion White is already on Eastern time. Clelin Ferrell had to drive in from Las Vegas. That's where he lives. He's on Pacific time. He's going to have to start at 10 a.m. or he's going to have to play at 10 a.m. for the 49ers. Remember, with no Yetur, the 49ers are in position where they're desperate for defensive ends. In a similar fashion to last week, although they've now added 2, right? So they entered the Houston game with a completely bare cupboard. But now the 49ers have Yetur Gross-Matos, with Gross-Matos on the shelf, they've got Clelin Ferrell and they've got Keion White on this team. Farrell was such a good edge setter for them against the run back in 2023. They're going to hope that he reprises that role. Maybe they even hope for some pass rushing juice for Cleveland, who gave him 3.5 sacks in 2023. Keon White, well, when he played against the 49ers last year, was awesome. 5 pressures, just tore up Aaron Banks with that one rip move. Hit Brock Purdy very, very hard. Patriots 49ers game. That was back in week 4 of 2024. They're going to hope that Keon White gives them some pass rushing juice in this one against the New York Giants. But, you know, we could spin this ahead to the trade deadline, and all this talk about Jalen Phillips, about Trey Hendrickson, we should also include Arden Key. I heard the Titans are getting a ton of calls on Arden Key. Well, Arden Key and Yetur Gross-Matos, those are players cut from a similar cloth that have played a similar outside-in role, like edge setter against the run on opening downs and pass rusher against guards on passing downs. With YGM, Yetur going to the injured reserve list, somebody like Arden Key is definitely not a redundant addition. I think the 49ers want all kinds of these guys. That's why they got Keon White. That's why they're planning to pair him with Yetur Gross-Matos. And you know, before people say that Gross-Matos is not a loss to worry about, he ranked number 1 in win rate over those first 5 games in interior pass rushing. So there's a reason why this 49ers pass rush opened the season as lethally as it did. And it's because they had Nick Bosa, they had Bryce Huff, and they had Yetur Gross-Matos. They had 3+ pass rushers. Last week, they didn't have any of those guys available, which is why Houston was such a disaster. Bryce Huff should be back next week, but now the 49ers have to fend without Bosa, without Huff, and without Gross-Matos again here in New York, and they hope that somebody like a Keon White, whom they traded for, somebody like a Clelin Ferrell, who they re-signed, they hope that those guys can help pick up the slack for the time being. But I think that ultimately the key against these New York Giants is going to be to hold the ball, because they've got a bad defense, and the 49ers are still nowhere close to full strength on their own defensive side of things. And I think that Jackson Dart can run around. I think he could create a lot of issues with his athleticism. No Cam Scattergoo, no Malik Neighbors, a lot of injuries for the Giants. But the 49ers defense is still skating on extremely thin ice. So ultimately for the 49ers, the key is they're going to be hog the ball. Make sure that you hold it offensively so that New York does not have a chance to expose your defense. All right, it's going to be prediction time. Let's take one more look at the city skyline at Central Park. We had a beautiful walk through and a subway ride up the 6 train. Saw some 49ers fans on the 6 train. They were heading to Finnerty's. We'll probably stop by there right now. I'm sure they're fired up. They were all from San Francisco, good guys on the 6 train. I think this game's going to end up in the 49ers' favor. I forgot what score I picked, Margot, on the San Francisco Standard. But I think I picked 27-21 49ers. That's what's going to happen. I think they're going to put up points against the Giants. I think they're going to hog the ball. And I think they're going to give up some points too. They're going to give up something in the 20s. But if they play good complementary football, there's going to be good weather here in New York. The 49ers will come out with a win. And if that happens, they will be 6-3 with a lot of guys set to return for the Rams game and the trade deadline on tap. It's going to be an extremely exciting week of 49ers football and off-field transactions. So long from Central Park. We'll see you from the Meadowlands tomorrow.